Happy holidays, everybody. Welcome back to Star and Florida, or welcome if this is your first visit. Thank you for stopping by. Um, I want to start out by saying thank you to everybody who subscribed. I can't. I remember doing this somewhere around 220 or something. I remember doing it more than 10 because I thought, if I get 10 folks, that'll be really fun. But 300 plus, I'm so excited. Thank you so much for coming on board. I know that I'm terribly unprofessional because I really don't edit or do any of that. I just sit here and talk. But I'm so thankful that you guys stop by and enjoy coming by and listening or working out to the my rambles or whatever. I so appreciate it so very much. So, secondly, this is my second attempt, well, third actually, but mostly second attempt at doing this particular video because the first one somewhere. Okay, so I spent YouTube was being really slow uploading, but I uploaded it to YouTube. This was late, I think, on Sunday night. Um, kind of thankfully. It took forever to load up, and everything was fine. And then I don't know if anybody else does this, but once I got it in there and got everything going, I went back to which I had done prior. You can always kind of rewatch it, make sure you're not doing anything stupid, and I didn't feel like I had or said anything stupid. But when I went back and watched it after I'd uploaded it, I found a couple of things. First, I was like flashing like like weird gang signs, um, unbeknownst to me, and maybe I was just super sensitive to it. But I was like, okay, stop that. And I thought, well, nobody will notice. And then I thought, when you're out there broadcasting this stuff, if somebody sees and I wasn't flashing gang signs, but I talk and I use my hands a lot, and your fingers, your hands get in certain specific positions, and then all of a sudden you're telling the world something about yourself that you had no intention of saying. Not only no intention of saying, but it isn't even real. So I thought, okay, be mindful of that. So I thought, well, I'll let it go. But the other obnoxious thing was that I had been doing something prior to filming, and I had my earbuds in. I'd attached my microphone. I'd done everything I was supposed to do. Please ignore the green light. I don't know why they put. I guess it lets you know it's working. Anyways, um, so I had my earbuds in, but I just assumed this was doing the recording. This was picking up the audio, and so like 2/3 of the way through the video, I went, oh my god, I still have my earbuds on, so I pulled them off. Meanwhile, it set them on the counter like a couple of feet away. They were the ones that were locked into the recording, so the recording at that point was just terrible. I mean, just. And I remember making a decision going, people will understand, it's no big deal. And I made a little thing in the comment section, the description box, saying, sorry about the audio after blah, blah, blah. And then it was like, no, this is annoying. I mean, these folks are coming by to have a peaceful evening, and I am not giving them that with that audio. So I ended up deleting it almost immediately. Hopefully nobody saw it. And if you did see it and kind of wondering where it went, that's where it went. It was like, yeah, no, we don't, no. So I found my Christmas glass from last year, which I'm very excited about. Cheers, everybody. Um, I hope your holidays are coming together as as you have wished for them to do so. Sorry about my hair is being so weird. Um, and I hope you're just having good days. When do the kids get out of school? Is it next week? When is Christmas? I don't even know. What's the date? 13th. So what is today? Today's the 13th, and we're going to put this on the 14th. So 7 days is 21st. So a week and a half, I guess, till Christmas, which blows me away because I feel like I started my decorating and my Christmas movie watching way too early, and I just can't get enough of it. And now I'm sad because I know it's coming to an end. So I hope I'm not alone in that. I'm sure there's other people who feel the same way. So, anyways, let's talk about. So this video is about decks that are too small. I got to pause for one moment. Okay, so here we are. Decks that are too small. I spent the last video talking about decks that were just obnoxiously big. or just annoyingly whatever. And so now we're going to talk about decks that are too small and decks that are perfect. Decks that are practically perfect in every way. To quote one of my favorite people on the planet, Mary Poppins. Think I was like, where's my head? Who am I talking about? So let's start with number one. I have these spread all over my desk because I literally did this like 2 days ago and I never cleaned it up because I knew I was going to redo it. But let's start with, I'll put this one away. Maybe if I put it right side up, we'd be better off. The 8-bit fantasy tarot deck. Cute as a bug in a rug. As small as a bug in a rug. Not a working deck, in my opinion. The larger size is workable, but it's still annoying. It's really thick and it's really thick um, and it's a square shape, but not quite big enough to make it shuffleable. So it's just kind of quite strange. Anyways, this one is 2 inches by two and a quarter inches. A little bit bigger than a quarter. So yeah, so it's a collectible for sure. Get on done. It's a collectible for sure. I never even took it out of its cellophane because there was no way I was going to work with it. And the other thing is that the which I should have been wiser about is that the images are pixelated because that's what this deck is about. And I have a hard enough time seeing smaller decks anyways, and then to have it be fuzzy to boot is just like, no, not my cup of tea. So just FYI, beautiful collectible, not a working deck, just in my opinion. Next on the small decks, Llewellyn. Llewellyn does not get my stamp of approval. You will see this stamp of approval designated by that motion. You will not see it on these two decks. So number one is the classic Llewellyn's Classic Tarot. Great deck. The full-size deck is fabulous, and I love it. I don't work with it all that much, but I like it, and I always adored the backs. And this deck is exactly exactly a miniature version of that deck. All the things. The one card that's stuck in there is the Tower. It's probably mad at me that I'm saying this, but it's too, even for small hands, of which mine are. And pardon if you're seeing my fingers have ink on them. I had to change all the ink in my printer today, and it didn't go well. Let's just say that. And does it ever? Is there a way to put, those orange tabs on the Canon inks? Is there a way to pull those orange tabs out without like spraying ink everywhere? Or at least spraying on my hands, whatever. I don't know. Anyways, so this deck, yeah, I'm not even going to try. So it's an annoying deck in that it's unshuffleable. It's too small. And, oh, I forgot to measure it. Oh, shoot. I was going to, I won't do it with the 8-bit because I gave you the size for that. But I do have a card from the Line Strider Tarot. Make sure I'm talking right. But the Linescape Tarot, sorry. Linescape Tarot. Evolution Gold. One of my favorite backs of all times. But I'm going to use this card to show you the sizes of these decks. So that's the size. I mean, it's literally a quarter. Well, okay, maybe a sixth of the size of a regular tarot deck. And it's just, in my opinion, hard to work. Hard to work. That's Llewellyn deck. The one by Barbara Moore. Now, the other one I have from the same Llewellyn company is the Everyday Witch Pocket. Now, granted, these pocket decks are pocketable. If you have pockets. Apparently, women on this planet have to struggle to find clothing that has actual pockets that fit, that aren't fake. You ever, God, it's one. Sorry, smallest side rant. The only pants I fit into is an American Eagle jeans, short, and I'm so thankful they're out there and they're relatively cheap. So, and they're just built like any other jeans. They're great. And I've lived in them for years. Gone up and down in sizes, but lived in it for years. But their pockets are just, why even bother? I mean, well, they're getting better. But I was going to say a couple of years ago, I bought that because I lost a fair amount of weight. And so I pulled out, never throw out your jeans. She's always save them just in case. So I had a whole pile of them. So I pulled out an old size from many years ago. And I was so thankful that I still had them. I didn't have to go out and spend money on new jeans. But the pocket that's on the front part of your, the one that you use the most, it's like that deep. For what? What? And then, by the way, their back pockets are always like at the at thigh level. It's like the lower. I mean, like, why? Put them up where they're on your butt. I don't understand why pockets are so low. Anyways, okay, rant over. Anyway, this is a pocket deck, although it would fit in a pair of American Eagle jeans. Might fit in a pair of their jeans now. They have improved. I bought a few pairs recently from them, and they have improved. These are some. Now that I'm saying that, let's just see. Putting it back in his deck. Ugh. So let me see if it'll fit in the pocket. Okay, it does. It fits beautifully. Show this off. It fits very nicely. All the way. Action photo. Boom. Into the pocket. Okay. So, good job, American Eagle. Somebody funny must have said, if you're gonna frickin' put them in there, make them useful. Don't put them in there just because. So anyway, but the thing about this everyday witch pocket deck, so the plus is that actually the cardstock for whatever reason is different than the Llewellyn, and so I can actually shuffle it. Can't ruffle, but I can shuffle. I'm never sure if I'm using that term right. Bridge. I can't bridge it because it's too thick, but I can shuffle it, and so Yahoo for that. The downside is it's hard to see the images, and it's hard to read the font. And yes, I wear glasses, but these are not. I can't. I'm very farsighted. I cannot read anything without them. But it's not a horrible correction. My biggest problem is astigmatism, but it's not a horror. I mean, I'm, it's like +2 or +250, something like that. It's nothing major, but I can't. I find it very difficult to read these. And then, of course, when you're using something, even the Everyday Witch, which still follows the RWS very closely, but not closely enough to be able to recognize it immediately or to see the nuances in the cards. That's where this size just isn't effective. And I'm sorry, because I really love that. I love how small they are, but they're kind of ineffective for me. The next ones I wanted to talk about were the kind of going. So that was Llewellyn. Let's talk Los Scarabeo. They also are not particularly great at small decks, and now I can't. Well, let's use this one. I have two rants about this one. The Golden Art Nouveau. Beautiful box. They do that well. Their decks. Let's look at size. Is there. So very similar, but still a little bit bigger than the Llewellyn. Size was, did I measure? I don't think I did. Let me do that. I should try to remember to do this on each deck. So let me do this. Let me do all three of these together. Well, that's good. So that'll show you the difference. Regular, small, smaller. So let me put this back. I don't want to get everything all mixed up. So this is maybe 3 1/8. Talking about Los Scarabeo, 3 1/8 by 1 and 8/8, almost 2 inches, 7/8, almost 2 inches. So just just a tad bit bigger. And can I shuffle them? Yes, I can. Can I bridge them? I cannot. I'm not. Well, I might be able to if I really worked at it, but I'm not going to risk spraying cards all over the place in this particular video. But yes, I can shuffle them, so I'll give them a plus for that. The downside about this particular deck is it's the Golden Art Nouveau. Golden is in its name. Anybody who has a full size deck knows the beauty of this deck. The beauty of that deck is not in this pocket version. Backs are very similar, but the gold is just brown. There's no gold at all in this. I mean, gold. Well, it's gold colored, I guess, but no special effects or anything. It's very matte. So if you love this deck and you want to take it on the road, just don't be disappointed by the fact that it doesn't have the glitz that you like on the regular deck. I mean, this is a good example. It's a beautiful. I love this Ace of Wands, but it's spectacular on the full size because it's got the gold embellishments, and this one just doesn't. So, but I got to give them props on their sizing because it's not bad, and the card stock is not bad. So, Los Scarabeo, you get a pass. Not necessarily Nancy's stamp of approval, but you get a pass. So let's moving up size-wise. We're going to move up to the Tarot of Oneness pocket, which totally surprised me in so many ways. There's the size, so you can tell the difference. I kind of want to show the difference. I should do this. Let's keep a card out from the previous deck to show the difference in the sizing. So that you can see. So the Tarot of Oneness pocket is the same width as the Los Scarabeo, but it's a little bit taller, which just that little, God, what is it? Just an eighth of an inch? 2/8 of an inch? Yeah. It's like literally 2/8 of an inch taller than the Los Scarabeo. Sorry. I always struggle speaking that name. So just that little bit of tallness. They've recreated this deck beautifully. They still have the matte peach edging. The images are as crisp and clear as they could be. The font is actually readable because they've done it pretty well. In this case, I think there's a few that are hard, but this one, white on the dark, and here's another example of dark on the lighter cards. Much appreciated, and thank you so much for doing that, Tarot of Oneness creators. So appreciated. But when I got this, I was like, oh, this is gonna not show because it was so thick. It's almost the same thickness as the original deck. It was like, this is never gonna shuffle. You hear that? Shuffles beautifully. Again, I probably won't bridge this because I've played, 78 card pickup enough times with smaller decks. I just don't do it anymore. But to be able to shuffle it like that, huge. Really, just huge. So well done, Tarot of Oneness. Nancy stamp of approval. Absolutely. Another honorable mention in that regard is the pocket, the Wild Unknown pocket. Again, just a recreation of their regular size deck. You all know the cards. I won't show many of them. My faves. So beautiful deck. And again, I was like, well, can I even shuffle this? And let me just show you the difference in thickness of these two. If you can you see the difference? Maybe I need to do the Simon at Herman's Cave always stacks them up next to each other and then says how many card difference is it. So this one is so almost 17 cards thicker, the Tarot of Oneness, to the pocket edition of the Wild Unknown. And you can hear it in the shuffle. This one is so much cleaner. And bridge. So there is quite a difference when it comes to cardstock thickness in terms of, for a smaller deck, in terms of what you can do with it. And I just think the more flexible the cards are in a smaller deck, the better off we all are. Now, I know that people may complain that they wear out faster. Well, that's what happens when you use things too much. Or not too much, but you use them a lot. They wear out. It's okay. Get another one. I'm sorry. Am I being obnoxious? I'm being obnoxious. I apologize. And I was going to show, and now where did it go? One of my favorite the littlest deck. Oh, here it is. No, that's not it. Crack. I guess it'll just have to go as a mention. I don't know what I did with it. If I find it in my travels here, I will share it with you in this video. But it's the Retro Impressions Pocket Deck. Great deck. And it's tiny. Jesus, I wish I had it here because it's such a great. Oh, I do have it. Yay! So I always put a little silicone rubber band on it because I don't want it to fly open in my purse. But this is Retro Impressions. And let's compare it to the Tarot one. It's quite a bit smaller. So the Tarot one is quite a bit smaller, quite a bit thinner. And I'll put it up against a regular Tarot. So you can see, quite a bit smaller. But what's cool about this, and I had to look it up because, first of all, now I've used this deck quite a bit. Look at that. Still, look at the gilding. Holding up beautifully. The backs, if you have the bigger deck, you know what it is. What's cool about this one is all the gold, unlike the golden Art Nouveau, all the gold is still there. Look at it. Shiny, shiny. And on both sides. It's just, am I showing this upside down? Probably. Sorry, that was upside down. My apologies. It's hard to show it off, but it still has all the gold. And I was like, it felt so different to me. And I was like, what is up with this deck? Was that upside down too? My apologies. Oh my gosh. That's when you know I've been using it. But still. So I won't go on and on. There's a lot of walkthroughs on this particular deck. But what's cool about this deck is like butter. And if I could actually shuffle better, we'd all be happier people. Yeah, it just shuffles like a dream. And I finally looked it up on their website because I couldn't figure out what the heck is this deck made out of? And it's PVC. So it's a plastic deck, but it's not super thin. Like, what's that one? I always want to call it the Marigold, but that's not it. I'm gonna have to pull it out, which is almost too thin, you know. It's kind of like it's messy in your hands. This deck is just, well, for this size, it's just perfect. For a smaller deck. Talk about pocket. And now smaller decks, I'm so picky. Well, as you all know, I'm pretty picky all the way around. Stamp of approval. Nancy stamp of approval for sure. Let's see. What's next? Here's where I'm power. Oh, so I'm going to talk about, well, let's get to U.S. games. We've hit Willow Scarabeo, the Lou Allen. There was one other one. I can't remember what it was. That we talked about. What we have not hit is U.S. games. Now, U.S. games probably got it down. I'm going to pull out the universal weight as a good example. Again, the images are absolutely the spitting image of their the decks are. Who has been rifling through these decks? Oh my god. Okay. So let's get the measurement out here. So as you can see, quite a bit. Get it. Beautiful. And let me. Do I still have it? I do. Get the Los Scarabeo out, and you'll see the difference between Los Scarabeo and the U.S. Games. Again, it's just a. Is it a quarter of an inch? Yeah, quarter of an inch to 3/8 of an inch wider. So this, yeah, I love this deck. I love this particular deck because they've recolored it and they've kept Pixie's fonts. Oh, blowout again. Yeah, it just the U.S. Games really has operator error. Sorry, but I'm gonna say don't get him. There we go. Yeah, U.S. Games does a really good job. Did a really good job of sizing, and I think their cardstock is great. And I love the fact that they kept Pixie's fonts. All right, trying to get it. There we go. Without the reflection. Favorite cards. 6 of Swords. Anyway, so yeah, it's great. It's a beautiful deck, and I love this deck. I love that it's in a tin. I think Nancy's stamp of approval. Another big stamp of approval goes to Ogosh and Thorn for their. So I've got 3, probably 3 more. I'm going to talk about. Where are we at time wise? Okay, we're good. Ogosh and Thorn, again, chunky freaking deck. This is their Ogosh and Thorn pocket. All of these are pocket versions, so you can see how thick it is. You're all familiar with this deck. Gorgeous. They've done such a beautiful job on all of it. And to me, this is such a fall, wintry, gorgeous deck. Oh, God. Every time I see these images, I just wonder why I don't use this every day. Which I do. I use it quite a bit, but not every day. I should, though. Anyways, beautiful deck. And I was like, oh, I'll never be able to shuffle this. Imagine my surprise. Did you hear that? It's beautiful. It's a perfect. Do that again. Yeah, really, just really well done in terms of cardstock choice, print, everything about it is perfect. The tuck box is the best tuck box on the planet. I don't like tuck boxes because I wear them out. But as I said before, that's what happens when you use things. You wear them out. So 2, Nancy stamp of approval. This has also got Nancy's huge stamp of approval. I've talked about this deck a lot in previous videos. It's just one of my faves. Jillian Wild's Pixie Pop Tarot. These are the backs. Black edging. Very vibrant colors. A little reminiscent of the, although this came out first, I think, the Wiser Tarot in terms of coloring. But this to me is so much more intentional than theirs was. I think Jillian just did such an awesome job on this deck. Sorry. There we go. Very wintry, but very dry hands. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my God. It's just, look at that sunrise, sunset. Anyways, well done. And then I was going to show you the size difference compared to the Los Scarabeo is that. So quite a bit, get it to somewhere we can see it, quite a bit different. and to a regular tarot deck. It's still quite a bit smaller, but I love the finish. You know, Logan over at Larkin Legend did, can I do this? Apparently not. Did his Black Salt Tarot a little thinner and a little shorter, and I love it. I love that deck size choice. He just, well done, Logan. Oh my God. He also makes good book recommendations. I read one that he by Ruth Ware. What the heck was it called? The Death of Mrs. Westerly. Can't recommend it more highly. It starts out, it's got a little bit of tarot flowing through it. It's not based on tarot, but it's got a little bit of that flowing through it, which keeps it interesting, and it's just a really good story. And I was so thankful he recommended that in one of his videos, and so I went out and got it, and I just enjoyed it completely. Anyway, so yeah, so Pixie Pop Tarot, Jillian Wild. I cannot recommend this deck more highly. It's a fun deck to work with. It's lively, keeps you on your toes. And then I found this beautiful deck wrap somewhere, but it was just perfect. The kind of the poppy colors, and just love it. Nancy stamp of approval. Sasarabito pocket deck. One of the most well done pocket decks out there. Seriously, I wish I liked the deck more. Although I'm using it a lot more than I did. Probably because I've just gotten so picky about cardstocks and shuffling and this and that. For me, so much of this is a tactile experience. And I love to be able to shuffle decks for a period of time. I don't know why. It brings, yeah, you hear that? Music to my ears. So every small deck should go talk to whoever built this deck. Who built this deck? Whose deck is this? Stasia Barrington. They need to talk to her about this cardstock, where she got it. It's really one of the best. Stamp of approval. I got to give a shout out to this Lightseers pocket. I was not feeling optimistic about this because I think I'd seen it through walkthroughs and it looked really chunky, which it is. And let's look at the size. To a regular. I mean, it's like that. It's not like US Games. I think it's, but let's compare. Did I have one hand? Didn't I have one handy? What did I do with you? US Games. I just had you right here. And you just up and disappeared. That's so, oops. Buried in under the saucer burritos guidebook. Let me get that back in there. Thank you for being patient with me. I appreciate it. Okay. So this compared to a so of course I dropped it. So US Games compared to so this Light Series Tarot is thinner, but absolutely the same height as the US Games. And in my opinion, excuse me while I duck down and get this card. Oh, I'll just leave it. I think that what that is what makes the Light Series Tarot shuffleable, because it's just got that little bit of extra give. I'm not gonna try to think. I don't bridge this one. I usually just shuffle it frontwise, and apparently I've forgotten how to shuffle. but this one does really good. When I'm shuffling up to my what I'm capable of, this deck it does a really good job. I'm just struggling today with that. I think my hands, there we go, are so freaking dry right now that they just, I can't grip a card to beat the band. But anyways, this also has my stamp of approval. I think it's a great deck. I love the fact that the guidebook, while chunky, is the whole entire guidebook. So you got to appreciate that. So is there anyone else? Oh, I guess I want to talk about these two, and then I'll be done. Yeah. Tabula Monday. Got to give this deck its dues. I really like it. It's a little, I want to say, it's, for me, it's the perfect size of a deck. It's a little mushy, and that's the only way I can describe it, which I don't mind at all because I can shuffle it and bridge it with ease, and I so appreciate that. I just I don't read Thotho that well yet. That's on my agenda, so this deck still is a bit of a mystery to me. I did buy the guidebook so that I could improve my skills, but I got to give this deck its dues. Absolutely a beautifully designed deck that is just the perfect frickin' size. Sorry, I meant to. Now I think this is wider than a regular tarot, or is it? Maybe it's just the same. Yeah, no, it's a little thinner, just by maybe just a skosh, but shorter. But God, it's just, I don't think it's poker card size. I think it's a little bigger than that. It's absolutely beautiful. Love it, love it, love it. And then a recent deck to my collection, which I've just really been enjoying, is the Diary of Skeleton. If you haven't checked it out, do. It's so much fun. It was a perfect for me. It ended up being a perfect deck for Halloween. So it's got these cool backs. It's not as shiny as it appears, but and it's also a linen a linen finish deck, which is really cool. And it just has everything is skeleton really. It's just really quirky, and I love it, and I love the size. Let's look at the size. So it's just it's right up there with Pixie Pop and these decks that are just in my wheelhouse in terms of size. And this one, because of the linen, it's the cardstock is fairly thick, but it's just, yeah, it shuffles really well. You have to put a little heft into it. My thumbs are getting stronger by the day the more I shuffle. But seriously, this is a great little deck. Yeah, I'm incapable. The problem is I need to put some lotion on my hands to be able to handle these decks, but I don't want to do that because I don't want to put lotion on the cardstock. So it struggles when you come to a place that has 13% humidity, which is not what we've been struggling with recently because it's really been wet here. It's foggy, which is so unusual, but whatever. Anyways, also Nancy's stamp of approval. So those are, oh, and I guess I can't leave without talking about one that I did a little bit of a review on the other day, and there's so many here that are just so great. Honorable mentions: Valeria's Tarot, Samrook, The Way of the Panda, the Pocket Edition, so perfect. Just really perfect. I have an AI deck that I know most of you probably won't, and I won't show it, but it's called the Golden Journey, and it's a tough. I feel very frustrated with that deck because I absolutely adore the cardstock, and I actually don't mind the full size deck, which is beautiful. But the Pocket Edition, because of the cardstock they used, the images are quite uh, dark and hard to see, and the font then is hard to see, and so that's frustrating. With the cardstock itself, anyways, the Pip Speak Tarot by Kitten Chops. Oh my God, there's just no better There's no better cardstock than this, honestly. I love this deck. I love this deck. I love this cardstock. I love the edging on it. I love that she was able to, I don't think you could see it on theirs, but on the to retain some of the, not retain, what am I talking about? Put in those gold embellishments. I don't know if you can see them all that well with the lighting today, but oh my God, just freaking adorable. And I have spent some time with it recently. It reads really, really well, in for me at least. Very easy to, very easy to read. I love it. So, I do have a reading update. One of the cool things that happened to me the other day, one of the things I really enjoy doing on Sundays is tuning into Jen Lynn Tarot and Becca at House of Lenormand and Johnny from Tarot's Apprentice. They do a three-way every Sunday at 5 o'clock, discussing and answering a list of current political questions. Now they have very they are opinionated, and they are um, don't mince words, which I appreciate, and they have a very definitive slant on how they view their politics, but which fortunately I agree with, so we're good there. Um, but one of the things I really enjoy doing with them is I pull out 5 or 6 decks about 4:30. I pull them out, get them all shuffled, kind of feel them out, do a little cleansing, this and that, and then when the show starts, or whatever you want to call it, the stream, I start answering the questions along with them. And I can usually tell within a couple of questions which deck wants to work with me, which deck is anxious to answer these questions. And last Sunday it was what's the name of that deck? I just got it. A little scared me out. The longest dream tarot, something like that. The longest dream. I think that's it. Anyways, God, it was like answers right and left, just boom, boom, boom. And there was a moment like on the second or third question, I laid out 3 cards and I was like, oh, well, blah, 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 just, yeah, whatever. Picked them up because I just knew exactly what it was saying to me. And then I had to stop and I was like, wait a minute. When did that start happening? I mean, I have spent a long time. One of my weakest areas is kind of weaving how the cards fit together, or how they can fit together. Do some have carry more weight than the others? Which one directs the story? Which one, which is the noun, which is the verb, which is the adjective, if you could do it as simplifying it like that. I don't normally do it that way, but kind of that's kind of, it's kind of like parsing a sentence. Like, what is it saying to you? And I would struggle with that. And it's kind of like when you'll hear people say the only way you're actually speaking fluently in another language is when you start to dream in it. And I thought, well, I'll never dream in tarot. I don't think. But that has changed, because I am now dreaming in a lot of tarot. And it's not that I immerse myself in it every day, every hour of every day, but I do touch it every day, a lot. And so I'm starting to dream in it. And it was just so bizarre to have that moment when I laid those cards out and just was like, it was like reading. I can't even remember what the question was nor what the particular answer was. But I remember it was just like, oh, la, la, la. Yeah, I just knew. I knew exactly what it was telling me. And it was so instantaneous that it didn't occur to me until a couple of seconds later that's what had happened. So it was so cool. So I want to encourage anybody else who's struggling with that aspect of tarot. Now, it's not happening every moment that I throw a card, but it's certainly happening a lot more frequently. And now that I think part of it is I'm not looking at each card and noodling, the intricate meanings of it and then trying to weave it into the next card. I kind of am taking them rather than looking at each card as an individual word, I'm looking at all of the cards as a sentence. And that has made all the difference, just for now. I'm still not great at it. I still very much, a neophyte at all this and very, very new. But for anybody starting out, do know, I kept thinking, if you just wait long enough, it'll just come. I just know it will. And then it just didn't. And about a year and a half ago, I was like, okay, this isn't happening. I've never got, it's like, I don't know if you've ever studied another language, but it's point which because I'm never going to get this. It's just never going to happen. And then to have that moment, that epiphany of like, what did I just do? What just happened here was so exciting. And it made my entire night, and had such a blast the rest of the evening slinging cards with them, because I felt like I'd learned so much. I mean, you can sling cards for yourself for so long, but you do have to understand there's a lot of stuff up here that just gets gummed up in how you start to interpret things. And so that's why practicing with them or anybody else who throws cards on, at least on YouTube, for me has been a really good practice session. Way of Positive Change is one. Lena Rodriguez is one that I follow and do that with. Um, who else am I thinking? Those are the two. Black and Orange. I do that with her almost every morning. Throw cards with her to answer questions. Now we don't always agree because we're looking at the different perspectives and we're coming from different perspectives. But it's amazing how often we do agree. And the thing that's weird about the Sunday night thing with Johnny and Becca and Jenna is I'm astounded how often I get the same cards as they do. I'm astounded. It's uncanny, and I love it. It tingles my magical spidey sense so much. Anyways, okay, that's it for the measuring the small decks and how they measure up with Nancy's stamp of approval. I hope you enjoyed this video so very much. It's just a treat coming at you when I am able to, and thank you so much for stopping by and listening. And I just lost my screen. Oh, stop it. There we go. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. If you have any comments about small decks that you appreciate that I didn't touch on here, or small decks that give you nothing but grief, make a comment down below. I'd love to read about it. I'd love to have a conversation about that. Thank you so much again for stopping by. I hope all is well, and happy holidays to everybody. I hope you have just a beautiful few weeks and a wonderful new year. I'll probably be on in between, but just in case. Okay. Thank you so much. Star and Flurry out.